Hi everyone! Let's have a real conversation today. If you feel like you're constantly struggling with money, I want you to hear this clearly. Your lack of funds is not bad luck, it's not the economy, and it's not a lack of opportunity. It is a program, a mental and energetic software that has been installed in your mind, your energy field, and even your DNA. Just like you delete a useless app on your phone that is draining your battery, you can and must delete this scarcity program and install a new one, the Abundance Protocol. I know this might sound a bit out there for some, but stay with me. Modern neuroscience and quantum physics are finally proving what ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. You are the architect of your own reality. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every word you speak is a brick in the construction of your life. If your financial house is falling apart, we don't look at the materials, we look at the builder. And in this case, the builder is you. This isn't about guilt, it's about sovereignty. You cannot change what you do not own. In this video, we are going to dive into how you have been unconsciously planting seeds of poverty while praying for a harvest of wealth. We'll explore the electromagnetic signature you are broadcasting to the universe and why your occasional affirmations are being drowned out by your daily habits of complaint. It's time to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the conscious gardener of your destiny. Let's look at the science of how to shift your vibration from survival to thrive. If you are tired of running the same old cycles of lack and you're ready to master your internal reality, make sure to subscribe. I'm here to guide you through the intersection of science and spirituality so you can create a life of true, lasting abundance. Join our community and let's rewrite your story together. To truly master the mechanics of your electromagnetic field, I highly recommend diving into the works of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've placed a link to one of my favorite guides on this topic in the first pinned comment below. It's the perfect companion for your reprogramming journey. 1. The Cosmic Gardener and the Mental Software. To understand why your financial reality looks the way it does, we first need to peel back the layers of what you consider to be real. We often look at our bank accounts as a final verdict on our worth or our effort, but the truth is much more profound. Your current lack of money is not a reflection of your hard work or your intelligence. It is a reflection of a program running in the background of your consciousness. Think of your mind as the world's most powerful operating system. Since you were a child, society, your family, and your environment have been installing apps in your subconscious. Unfortunately, most of us are running outdated, glitchy software called the scarcity protocol. Imagine for a moment that you are a cosmic gardener. This is one of the most accurate metaphors for how we create our reality. In this metaphor, your inner state, your subconscious mind, is the soil. Now, the thing about soil is that it is neutral. It doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever seed you give it with equal dedication. If you plant a seed of a strawberry, the soil will work night and day to give you strawberries. If you plant a seed of a weed, it won't judge the weed. It will simply provide the nutrients for that weed to flourish. In your life, your thoughts and your feelings are the seeds. Every time you think, I don't have enough, or things are so hard for me, you are dropping a seed into that fertile soil of your subconscious. Here is where most people get stuck. We spend 90% of our day planting seeds of strawberries, which in this case represent scarcity, fear, and frustration. We talk about the bills, we complain about the price of gas, and we feel a knot of anxiety every time we see someone else succeeding. Those are your primary seeds. Then, for 5 minutes a day, perhaps during a meditation or while watching a video like this, you decide to plant a seed of an apple, representing abundance and wealth. You say your affirmations, I am rich, I am prosperous. But then, the moment you stop the meditation, you go right back to your habit of complaining and worrying. At the end of the season, you look at your garden, your bank account, and you are angry because you see a field full of strawberries, scarcity, instead of apples, wealth. But tell me, how could the soil produce apples when the vast majority of what you planted were strawberries? The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your patterns. A pattern is simply a habit of thought and emotion that you repeat so often it becomes your default setting. I've noticed in my own observations that most people are addicted to the emotions of lack without even realizing it. They feel a strange comfort in the struggle because it's what they know. When you try to use a positive thinking technique on top of a lifetime of negative programming, it's like trying to put a high-tech app on an ancient, broken computer. The system just crashes. You can't just think yourself rich if your entire energetic system is vibrating at the frequency of not enough. You have to become 100% responsible for your garden. This is a hard pill to swallow because it means we can no longer blame the government, the boss, or our upbringing. Yes, those things exist, but they are just the weather. You are the gardener. You are the one choosing which seeds to nurture and which to pull out. When I started applying this to my own reality, I realized I was a master at planting scarcity seeds. I would spend hours talking about what I didn't have and only seconds acknowledging what I did have. I was expecting a harvest of abundance while my internal land was covered in the weeds of resentment and fear. We need to understand that science, specifically quantum physics, is now explaining what we used to call magic. Every thought you have has an electrical charge, and every emotion has a magnetic charge. Together, they create your electromagnetic signature. If your signature is "I am struggling," the quantum field, which is the soil of the universe, has no choice but to reflect back to you experiences that match that struggle. It's not a punishment, it's a reflection. You are the architect, the builder, and the resident of your financial house. If the roof is leaking, it's time to stop blaming the rain and start looking at the blueprints you've been following. This reprogramming isn't something you do once, it is a lifestyle. You have to be as consistent with your new abundance software as you were with your old scarcity program. You wouldn't expect to have a six-pack after eating one salad, right? The same applies to your wealth. You have to change your daily diet of thoughts and feelings. You have to become a curator of your internal world. When a thought of lack enters your mind, you have to recognize it for what it is, a glitch in the old program, and consciously choose to delete it. You replace it with the seed you actually want to grow. In my experience exploring these principles, the biggest breakthrough happens when you stop fighting your current reality and start focusing entirely on the seeds you are planting right now. The harvest you are reaping today is the result of seeds you planted months or years ago. You can't change today's harvest, but you can absolutely determine what you will harvest tomorrow. It requires a radical level of discipline to stay in a state of abundance when the physical evidence says otherwise, but that is exactly where the magic happens. You are training your brain to see the apples even before they have sprouted from the ground. Remember, the scarcity program was installed through repetition and emotion. It was told to you over and over again until you believed it. Therefore, to install the abundance program, you must use the same tools, repetition and heightened emotion. You have to feel the wealth before you see the numbers. You have to act as the gardener who knows with absolute certainty that because he planted apple seeds, apples are coming. This certainty is what shifts your vibration. It's time to stop being a victim of the garden and start being the sovereign gardener of your own life. 2. The electromagnetic signature. Thoughts versus feelings. To truly understand how we build a new financial reality, we have to peel back the curtain of the physical world and look at the mechanics of the quantum field. Most people are stuck in a 3D trap. They believe that money is purely a physical object, paper, coins, or numbers on a screen. But the reality is that everything in this universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. You are energy, I am energy, and your bank account is a physical manifestation of an energetic state. This brings us to the core of our transformation, the electromagnetic signature. This is a concept I have studied deeply through the lens of neuroscience and quantum physics, specifically the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it is the bridge between wanting wealth and actually living it. Think of yourself as a highly sophisticated broadcasting station. Every second of every day, you are sending a signal out into the universe. The formula for this signal is precise. Your thought is the electrical charge, and your emotion is the magnetic charge. Together, they form your electromagnetic signature. When you think about money, you are sending a specific electrical signal out into the quantum soup of all possibilities. If you think, "I want to be rich," that is a signal. However, the universe doesn't just listen to what you think, it responds to what you feel. Your body is the magnet. If you are thinking about wealth, but your heart is tight with anxiety, or your stomach is knotted with the fear of not being able to pay your bills, you are emitting a powerful magnetic charge of lack and scarcity. Something I realized in my own practice is that the quantum field doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. If your thoughts and feelings are inconsistent, you are sending a split signal. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while standing next to a massive interference tower. You might be saying the right affirmations, but if your internal state is tuned to the frequency of "I don't have enough," that is exactly what you will attract back. The universe is a perfect mirror. It doesn't judge your signal, it simply reflects it. If your signature is one of struggling to survive, the field will reorganize itself to provide you with more situations that require you to struggle. It is a mathematical certainty, not a matter of luck. This reflection happens because the quantum field is an observer-dependent reality. If the observer, you, is perceiving and feeling lack, the field collapses into the particle of lack. While I was integrating these concepts into my daily life, I began to see how we create these vibrational ruts. Through repetition, our daily habits of thinking and feeling become our default setting. This becomes your unique signature. Just as you can recognize a person by their walking style or the way they dress, the universe recognizes you by your habitual energetic identity. If you spend 90% of your day in a state of complaint or stress, that color becomes your energetic identity. Even if you try to think positive for 5 minutes, the sheer weight of your habitual signature will override that temporary signal. This is why consistency is the only way to reprogram the system. You have to change the majority of your internal signal. This means auditing your mental diet from the moment you wake up until you close your eyes. Are you feeding the scarcity program with every social media scroll, or are you fueling the abundance protocol? We must understand that this is not just spiritual talk, it is biophysics. Your thoughts produce chemicals in your brain that send signals to your body. If you think stressful thoughts about debt, your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline. Your body then enters a survival state. In a survival state, your field of perception narrows. You literally cannot see the opportunities that are right in front of you because your brain is focused on fighting or fleeing the perceived threat of poverty. In this state, the blood flows away from your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for creativity and logic, and into your hindbrain. You are literally making yourself less intelligent regarding money when you are stressed about it. To attract abundance, you must move out of survival and into creation. This means training your heart to feel the emotion of wealth and gratitude before the physical money actually arrives, allowing your brain to enter an alpha or theta state where new neural pathways can be formed. In my experience exploring these principles, the most difficult part is overcoming the evidence of our senses. Our eyes tell us the bank account is low, so we feel bad. When we feel bad, we emit a magnetic signal of lack. That signal then attracts more lack, which provides more evidence to feel bad about. It's a closed loop. To break it, you have to become a quantum rebel. You have to decide to feel the abundance first. This is what we call faith in spiritual circles, but in quantum physics, it is simply tuning into a potential that already exists in the field. You have to broadcast the electrical signal of "I am prosperous" and marry it with the magnetic feeling of "thank you, it is done." When you harmonize your thoughts and feelings, you create a coherent signature. Coherence is power. A coherent signal is what collapses the wave of possibility into a physical reality. Without coherence, you are just throwing static into the universe. When you start to master your signature, you realize that you are a tower of personal radio. The frequency you choose to transmit, whether it's fear, gratitude, scarcity, or love, determines the music of the experiences you tune into. What you emanate as a signal returns as your life story. There is no shortcut here. You cannot game the system. The field knows your truth. It knows if you are truly feeling abundant, or if you are just reciting words while feeling desperate inside. This is why the inner work is the only work that matters. Your financial reality is just the echo of your internal vibration. If you don't like the echo, you don't shout at the walls. You change the sound you are making. You must become the source of the frequency you wish to experience. Furthermore, we need to talk about the observed effect. In quantum experiments, particles behave differently when they are being watched. Your financial life is the same. If you watch your debts with the eyes of a victim, you freeze them in that state. If you observe your potential with the eyes of a creator, you allow the energy to move. This requires you to step out of the old self, the one who is defined by the past, and step into the new self, the one who is defined by a future that hasn't happened yet. This transition is uncomfortable because the body is addicted to the old chemicals of stress. It will try to pull you back into the old signature. It will tell you that you are being unrealistic. But remember, being realistic is just another way of saying you are staying in the old program. To change your life, you have to be unrealistic until your new reality becomes the new norm. As we move forward, I want you to start auditing your signature with clinical precision. What have you been broadcasting for the last 24 hours? If your life were a song based on that signal, would it be a joyful symphony or a stressful dirge? Look at your reactions to small expenses. Do you tighten up? That is your signature shifting. Look at how you feel when you see someone else's success. Do you feel diminished? That is the scarcity program trying to take over. Remember, you have the power to change the dial at any moment. By consciously choosing your thoughts and deliberately cultivating your emotions through practices like heart-brain coherence, you rewrite your signature. You move from being a victim of the broadcast to being the owner of the station. You become the one who commands the atoms of your life to arrange themselves in a pattern of wealth. This reprogramming isn't about getting something from the outside world. It's about becoming the person who is a vibrational match for what they desire. When you are a match, you don't have to chase the money. The money follows you. It is drawn to your magnetic field like iron filings to a magnet. This is the difference between working for money and allowing money to flow to you. One is a 3D struggle. The other is a 5D alignment. By mastering your electromagnetic signature, you are effectively taking the steering wheel of your destiny back from the subconscious programs that have been driving you for years. You are finally home. 3. The 5 saboteurs and the Hawkins scale. Now that we have established the physics of your electromagnetic field, we must perform a surgical audit of what is actually contaminating your signal. In my observations of high-performance mindsets versus scarcity mindsets, I have identified 5 specific vibrational saboteurs. These are not just bad habits. They are deep-seated neural programs that act like a firewall, blocking the flow of abundance before it even reaches your conscious awareness. To understand why these saboteurs are so destructive, we have to look at them through the lens of the Hawkins scale of consciousness. Dr. David Hawkins demonstrated that every human emotion has a specific frequency, measured in hertz. If your dominant emotional state is below 200 hertz, you are in a state of powerlessness, where you are effectively pushing wealth away. The first and perhaps most insidious saboteur is fear. On the Hawkins scale, fear vibrates at 100 hertz. This is a contraction frequency. When you are in fear, your body's nervous system is stuck in the sympathetic branch, fight or flight. From a biological perspective, when you fear not having enough or failing in business, your brain's amygdala hijacks your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that handles complex problem solving and long-term planning. While I was integrating these principles into my own life, I realized that when I was afraid, I was literally blind to opportunities. I could have $1 million idea right in front of me, but because my brain was tuned to 100 hertz, survival, it filtered the idea out as too risky. Fear doesn't just make you feel bad, it makes you strategically incompetent. The second saboteur is ingratitude. This is a state of constant focus on the gap, the space between where you are and where you want to be. Ingratitude vibrates at a very low level because it is rooted in the not enough program. When you fail to appreciate the current flow in your life, you are telling the quantum field that you do not trust its provision. In my experience exploring these principles, I've seen that gratitude is not just a nice feeling. It is a frequency of 500 hertz or higher. It is a state of receivership. If you are ungrateful, you are energetically closed. It's like trying to pour water into a bottle that still has the cap on. You can have a waterfall of abundance hitting you, but if you are vibrating in ingratitude, not a single drop gets inside. The third and most common in our society is complaint. To re-complain is to literally reclaim an old experience. Every time you complain about the cost of living, your debt, or your boss, you are anchoring yourself to that reality. On a neurological level, complaining strengthens the synaptic pathways of lack. You are building a scarcity superhighway in your brain. On the Hawkins scale, chronic complaining often fluctuates between anger, 150 hertz, and pride, 175 hertz, both of which are force frequencies rather than power frequencies. When you complain, you are trying to use force to change your life, but force always creates a counterforce. This is why the more you complain about money, the more unforeseen expenses seem to pop up. You are literally inviting the universe to prove you right. The fourth saboteur is the need for control. This is a subtle one. It feels like responsibility, but it's actually rooted in anxiety and pride. When you try to control every detail of how money should come to you, you are limiting the infinite intelligence of the quantum field. You are saying, I only allow wealth to come through this specific door. By doing this, you are closing the thousands of other doors the universe might be trying to open. This attachment creates a kink in your energetic hose. When you let go and move into acceptance, 350 hertz, the pressure is released and the flow can finally normalize. I've noticed that the biggest financial breakthroughs usually happen the moment someone truly surrenders the how. The fifth and final saboteur is the belief in scarcity, the idea that the pie is limited. This is the zero-sum game mentality. If you believe that for you to be rich, someone else must be poor, you are operating from a frequency of guilt and shame, 30 hertz, which are the lowest levels on the scale. These frequencies are toxic to wealth. Shame literally shrinks your electromagnetic field until it is almost non-existent. You become invisible to the flow of prosperity. This belief acts as a massive filter in your reticular activating system, RAS. If you believe there isn't enough, your brain will only look for evidence of lack, confirming your bias over and over again. To move out of this loop of failure, we have to understand the map of consciousness. Below 200 hertz, you are a victim of your environment. You are reactive. But the moment you reach courage, 200 hertz, everything changes. Courage is the portal. It's the moment you stop blaming the economy or your past and say, I am the cause of my reality. This shift in perspective actually changes the way your brain processes information. You move from the survival brain to the creative brain. From courage, you can climb to neutrality, 250 hertz, where you are no longer triggered by your bank account, and then to willingness, 310 hertz, where you actively seek new ways to grow. In my journey, I discovered that you cannot think your way out of a 50 hertz vibration if you are still marinating in the emotions of the old program. You have to vibrate your way out. This means identifying which of these 5 saboteurs is your primary anchor and consciously doing the work to unhook it. If you are stuck in the complaint loop, your task isn't just to stop talking, it's to change the internal frequency of your observations. You have to move from the 150 hertz of anger to the 500 hertz of love. It sounds like a giant leap, but it happens one conscious breath at a time. When you clear these saboteurs, your vibrational signature becomes clean. You are no longer sending static into the field. You become a high-definition transmitter. This is when the coincidences and synchronicities start to happen. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible because you have removed the scarcity blinders. You realize that the disease was never a lack of money. The disease was a misalignment of frequency. By using the Hawkins scale as your GPS, you can track where you are and consciously tune yourself upward. You move from the gray zone of survival into the golden zone of manifestation. This is where the Zen millionaire lives, not in a state of getting, but in a state of radiating abundance that the world has no choice but to match. 4. The reprogramming protocol: action and joy. We have identified the glitches in your software and mapped out the vibrational frequencies that keep you stuck. But now we must address the most critical phase: installation. You cannot simply delete an old program and leave a vacuum. You must install a new, robust protocol of abundance. In the world of neuroscience, we know that neurons that fire together wire together. To change your financial destiny, you must create new neural pathways that associate money with joy, safety, and flow, rather than stress and fear. This requires what I call a quantum protocol, a series of deliberate, repetitive actions that force your brain to perceive a reality that your senses haven't confirmed yet. The first tool in this protocol is the abundance counter. This is a practice I have seen transform lives because it shifts your reticular activating system, RAS, from a filter of lack to a filter of wealth. Most people only count money in the form of cash or bank transfers, but in the eyes of the universe, abundance is a single energy that takes many forms. While I was integrating these concepts into my own life, I realized I was ignoring about 80% of the abundance already reaching me. I started a practice, and I want you to do the same, where I would record every single act of provision in a dedicated journal or an app on my phone. Every time a friend buys you a coffee, that is abundance. Every time you get a discount you didn't expect at the store, that is abundance. If someone gives you a ride, offers you a sincere compliment, or hands you a book they thought you'd like, these are all quantum deposits. When you write these down at the end of each day, you are literally retraining your brain to see that the universe is already providing for you. You are moving from the frequency of "I have nothing" to the frequency of "I am constantly supported." At the end of 30 days, looking at that list creates a proof of abundance that your subconscious mind cannot argue with. It breaks the old program's logic. The second tool is the zero-cost challenge. This is designed to break your consumer dependency, the belief that the only way to get what you want is through a direct, stressful financial transaction. For 1 week, I want you to pick something you want or need and challenge yourself to manifest it without spending a single cent. Maybe you need a specific piece of equipment, a book, or even a meal. Instead of reaching for your wallet, reach for your creative field. Ask a friend if they have one to lend. Offer a skill trade, bartering, or simply set the intention and wait. What I've discovered through my personal observations is that this exercise forces your brain to move into problem-solving mode, the prefrontal cortex, and out of panic mode, the amygdala. It teaches you that money is just one of many tools the universe uses to deliver its goods. When you successfully manifest something through a trade or a gift, you feel a sense of quantum power. You realize that you are not a slave to the dollar, you are a master of the exchange. This builds the courage, 200 Hz, and willingness, 310 Hz, we discussed earlier, creating a much larger energetic container for actual wealth to flow into. Furthermore, we must address the law of release, or what many call letting go of the grip. The scarcity program is characterized by a close-fisted approach to life. You hold onto your money with white knuckles because you are afraid it won't come back. But remember the physics, a closed hand cannot receive anything new. To install the abundance protocol, you must practice joyful circulation. This doesn't mean being reckless, it means changing the emotion behind your spending. When you pay a bill, do not let it be a moment of loss. Let it be a moment of blessing the flow. You are sending energy out so that it can complete its cycle and return to you. If you can't pay a bill with a smile yet, start by saying arigato, or thank you for the service provided. You are aligning yourself with the frequency of the Zen millionaire. When I started applying this to my own reality, the biggest shift happened when I stopped praying for money and started practicing wealth. I realized that the universe is not a judge who gives rewards to the good, it is a field of energy that responds to matches. If you are a vibrational match for a $100,000 a year life, that life will find you. If you are a match for a $30,000 a year struggle, that is what you will stay in. The installation happens in the small moments, the way you talk to yourself about your bank balance, the way you react when you find a penny on the street. Do you ignore it or thank the universe for the sign? And the way you view other people's success. If you see someone else's wealth and feel jealousy, you are telling your program that wealth is something I don't have and it makes me feel bad. You are literally repelling the very thing you want. You must learn to celebrate the abundance of others as a proof of concept that it is possible for you too. The final step in the protocol is consistency and repetition. Your old scarcity program was installed over decades of hearing, money is hard, or we can't afford that. You cannot expect to overwrite that in 24 hours. You must be a relentless architect of your inner world. You must repeat these new observations, these new feelings of gratitude, and these new acts of circulation until they become your new default setting. When the thought, I can't, arises, you must consciously delete and replace. You replace it with, the universe is reorganizing itself to support my expansion. Remember, you are not a victim of your bank account. You are the source of the frequency that creates the bank account. If you don't like the harvest, look at the seeds. If you don't like the music, change the transmission. You have the admin rights to your own mind. You have the power to delete the scarcity program once and for all and install a legacy of abundance that will not only change your life, but the lives of everyone around you. The field is ready. The software is available. The gardener is you. It's time to step into your sovereign power and start living the wealthy life you were always meant to lead. If you are ready to finally delete the scarcity program and step into your power as a quantum creator, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are exploring the frontiers of consciousness and wealth every week, and I would love to have you in our community. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next step in your evolution. The journey of reprogramming is deep, and having the right map is essential. I've put the link to the core works we've discussed today, including Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. David Hawkins, in the first pinned comment below. Investing in your mind is the first step in investing in your future.